So here we list the prerequisites, which are essentially having Git installed on your machine, having Docker installed on your machine, and for you to replicate this use case, this example, have Docker Hub and GitHub accounts. So, first of all, we create a Git repository for the example code that we are going to use. What we are going to port now is a very simple Python code which reads a Sentinel image, Sentinel-2 image, and converts this product into a PNG image. So it is really something very, very simple. The purpose is just to have the porting successful from the technical point of view. In this example and in the screenshots on this page, we are using as a client application for Git the GitHub desktop application, but of course you can use any application you want or the command line. So this is the Git application. We create a new repository. We call it webinar repo, and okay, demo, and we click create repository. Then we publish this repository on GitHub, clicking here, publish repository. Please note that in this particular client application you need to untick this, because to make the repository private on GitHub you need to pay. So in this case we make it open, and it's publishing. Okay, so then we download from the documentation page here the zip with the source code for this Python example Python script. Okay, and well, I have already saved it, so I don't need to save. This is a zip file that you can unzip and copy to the something which we refer here as a source folder. Okay, so I have here the zip, and I unzip it and copy its content from here to the webinar repository here. Now that I have done this, I can go back to the Git application. It has found 2 new files that I can share on the GitHub. So these 2 files are now on my local machine. I want to make this shared on GitHub. So source code, I add a comment here and commit and push to GitHub. Okay. Now that I have my repository both in the local machine and on GitHub, I start the creation, and then we will see how to test and share the Docker image. So here is the list of all the steps that you need to take in order to create, test, and share your Docker image. First of all, we have a link here where you can download an example input file for this model. It is a zip for a Sentinel-2 product, which I have already downloaded, so I'm not going to download. And the first thing you need to do is to start a new Docker container starting from an existing Docker image. I have prepared a slide so that it is easier to understand what this command does. Okay. What we are going to do now is we have the source folder, which is the repository, and the data folder on your computer, so on my PC in this moment. What we are going to run is this command here. And what does this command do? It utilizes an existing Docker image, which is an Anaconda Python version, and it will download this image on your computer and will launch a new container on your computer, and the name of the container will be VLab test. In addition to this command will link the source folder, so where you have your own scripts, to a folder inside the Docker named /s2png, and the same will be for the data folder /testdata. So we are going to run this, okay, this command from the command line. Of course, you cannot just cut and paste, because here the source folder and the data folder must be replaced with your local machine folders. So in my use case, I have my folder Essential. This is the repository, and the data folder, which is where I already have the data. They must be, absolute path. So no local path, and this folder where I have the data, sorry, is okay, webinar. Okay. So this is now launching, and here I have the prompt inside the container. So now the next commands that we are going to execute here are actually executed inside the container, so inside this kind of virtual machine. Okay. So let me just copy this to the. And okay, so now what we need to do is to install the required libraries in order to run our simple code. In particular, the Python script we are using utilize the ISA snap libraries, which are Python libraries of ISA tools for processing Sentinel images. So first thing we are going to do is to create an Anaconda environment where to install all the libraries with this command. And this will take some seconds. because what we have now is this container we need to configure using EaserSnap, Snappy, and Unzip utility. So what we are going to do is to enrich this container with these new tools. Okay, here it requires me to proceed, and it's going to create the environment. Okay. Here on the documentation you have all the let's say answers you need to type when you are prompted with some options. So in this case, yes, and press enter. Then we activate the Anaconda environment we have just created, and we create a directory for installing the EaserSnap. We enter the directory and we download the installer for this. Okay. This will take some time. So what we are doing now is downloading the installer in order to create, to enrich this container. Let's see how much it takes. Should not take too long.
Salut Pascal, ça va?
Les UN country borders là, oui, ça commence à...
Ça bouge?
Non, ça commence à faire long. Okay. Donc, j'ai écrit hier
We hear someone talking. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Okay, so it's taking still some time. Meanwhile, if someone has any question so far.
So maybe the question while we're waiting for software download will be the following. What is the limitation of VLab on the volume of data that could be used as input?
Do you mean limitation in terms of what?
Of size.
The VLab utilizes, well, runs on cloud and utilizes the Amazon Web Service file system. So there is no actual, there is no actual limit in terms of data. I don't know we use EFS service, so you can double check that, but that is really huge disk size. So the limitation in case could be in terms of memory required then to open the file and to process it, but I will show later that you can request for machines with enough memory. So we don't use physical hard drives at the moment. We are using virtual ones, so as long as Amazon supports it, this is fine for us. And you can check online which are the size limits for EFS, but they are really huge. So far we have never had this kind of problem.